Welcome to the WVC New Product Showcase, where we learn more about the latest products in veterinary medicine. I'm Adam Weiss. Having the right set of tools available to you is always important, and not all veterinarians have a good veterinary dental kit on hand. So today, I'm interviewing Dr. Randi Brannan from Securos Surgical about their TriDenta system. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Adam.
So to start off, can you describe the shortcomings you see in the dental tools that many veterinarians use on a daily basis?
Yes, I think that it's important to have the appropriate instrument for the procedure. And a lot of times we make do with what we have. It makes the job much easier, more efficient, less traumatic if we've got the right instrument for the task at hand. And also, I think a huge thing is not having sharp instruments. It's really to your disadvantage, and in the end, it's to the patient's disadvantage as well.
So could you briefly describe how the TriDenta system improves on what practices are normally using?
It consists of 3 modules. There's a root elevator module, and a flap module, and a periodontal module. So that means that you've got the instruments for each one of those procedures, and there's a lot of overlap. And you can then choose that, and you've got everything in front of you, so you're not wasting time looking for the instrument that may fit that situation.
Can you tell us how it helps to have it divided up into those 3 different kits?
Yes, if you're doing extractions, you're probably not going to use your periodontal kit, so you won't be using your curettes to do root planing. You won't be using your scalers to go in between the teeth and on the tooth surface. But what you want to reach for are the instruments that you need for the procedure. So you're going to make a flap, you're going to want to reach for your periosteal elevator, you want just the right forceps for picking up the tissue to facilitate the flap. You'd like to have an elevator, a dental elevator, a root elevator that is the appropriate size for the tooth that you're taking out. So that makes it easy. You're not sorting through numerous instruments. You've got just what you want right in front of you. It really saves time, and it makes it much more efficient. Time is of the essence in dental procedures because they are very long. It's not a short procedure like a spay or a cystotomy. And if we can get the animal anesthetized, the procedure done, and wake them up off the table, if we can save a couple minutes here and a couple minutes there, it makes a big difference.
And this system has particular design elements that both help with that and make it more suitable to veterinary care. Can you talk about some of those?
Yeah, for example, the root elevators have, the handles are a little shorter. That seems to be appropriate for the majority of people because most veterinary dental technicians and veterinarians happen to be females. So the root elevator with the shorter handle fits in the palm of the hand, and even with a large hand, it fits in your hand perfectly. You have more control, and you've got comfort throughout the procedure.
And they're also very clearly labeled to make it easy to use them. It makes it easy to grab the tool that you need, right?
Exactly. With the root elevators, that's great. With the root elevators, there's a number on the elevator which tells you what size it is. So that's the number of millimeters of the width of the blade. The curette, for example, it's a Gracie curette, so there's a sharp side, and the sharp side is marked with a plus sign. That makes it easy. It's visual, and the numbers are large, the markings are large, so you can pick up the instrument that you're looking for and not have to sort through them.
And what are the advantages of using a specific veterinary-designed set of dental tools versus the human tools that most vets use?
If you use the right human instrument, that's appropriate, but there are thousands and thousands of instruments. So if we can help you with that and use the instruments that are appropriate for the procedure from the human side, modify them if they need to be modified, and put that in a pack, in a module for you to use, that really makes the decision-making process so much easier.
And I guess another advantage of this system is that there are some tools that are particularly well-suited to working on small animals.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of frustration in working with felines because they have very small and delicate teeth. There's a beautiful feline pen luxator in the root elevator module that is very, very helpful for removing those delicate molars and premolars in the feline mouth. And these instruments can all be purchased separately. Many practices have a number of root elevators. That may be a module that they don't feel they need. The sharpness is important, but to add to that a feline luxator would be great. And that's one reason they're divided into modules as well.
So the set of tools available here are the ones that you would most need for each of the types of procedures you'd use these kits for. Let's talk about some of those tools themselves. I know that the TriDenta system includes both scalers and curettes. Why are both of those in there?
Well, many teeth have an early or moderate stage of disease that don't require an extraction. So what are we going to do with that tooth or those teeth that have loss of gum tissue, a little bit of bone loss, or a moderate amount of bone loss, and we can't really say this is something we need to extract? We need to have a curette so that we can use the curette underneath the gum tissue, essentially a deep cleaning as a terminology that's used on the human side. We clean the root surface, and we clean the lining of the tissue and hope for some reattachment and slow down the progression of gum disease. The scaler is a beautiful instrument to use on the tooth itself. Teeth have a lot of anatomy, and they have developmental grooves that retain tartar. We'd like to get between the teeth so that we can make sure we're not leaving any tartar behind, and that's what the scaler is used for. So those are both very important instruments in a periodontal pack.
And what about the advantages of having a winged elevator available?
Winged elevators are nice because they prevent the instrument from slipping from side to side, which really is safer and more efficient.
Now, you talked about the organization aspect of having these specific modular kits, but what other advantages do having the modules provide?
I believe what we talked about initially was that they're grouped for the procedure that you're performing, so you're not wasting time. It's great for inventory control. The instrument's either there or it's not there in the instrument sterilization cassette. And that instrument sterilization cassette that these instruments are contained in can go directly into the autoclave after you've washed off the gross debris and you've cleaned them and you put them in your ultrasonic cleaner, used instrument milk if that's what you do. That instrument cassette can be wrapped and put in the autoclave, and it's good for its next use.
You mentioned at the beginning that instrument sharpness is really important in dental procedures. Can you tell us a little bit more about why that is so essential?
Yes. Sharp root elevators, when you're ready to do an extraction, the sharp root elevator will sever or cut the periodontal ligament while the actual physical elevator is stretching and fatiguing the periodontal ligament. That helps you tremendously get your tooth out in a timely fashion. The curette, for example, the curette removes debris from the surface of the root. If the curette is not sharp and it's dull, it will burnish the debris into the root. In fact, marrying the debris onto the root surface, so you actually have accomplished nothing. You still left all that disease behind. So if you think about your outcome is going to be different if you've got a sharp versus a dull instrument. I suppose you could look at a knife. You're cutting an onion with a knife and you crush it. That's not so great. It might make tears come to your eyes. Or a tomato, and you want to slice a tomato nicely and cleanly, but you've got a really dull knife. That's not going to happen. The tomato's going to get squashed, and you don't have the presentation or the outcome that you had anticipated.
Now, this modular system plugs into, in a sense, a bigger set of tools that you would use in veterinary dentistry. Can you talk about the other pieces that would be required to do these procedures successfully? Yes.
In addition to having appropriate dental instruments, the two other things that are absolutely essential in dentistry is to have a dental x-ray machine or dental x-ray generator, because you can't do dentistry without x-rays. All you can see is, and when you look in the mouth, is at best half of what's there, and that's the crown of the tooth. Everything else is under the gum and in the bone. And the second thing is you really need a high-speed drill. That's also critical in facilitating your extractions. We need to, at times, remove some of the bone around a tooth to help us get the tooth out, and also to smooth the bone off when we're finished, so that the flap will lay over a nice smooth ridge of bone. And really, we have to section the teeth. That's really important in getting these large multi-rooted teeth out of the animal's mouth.
So this sounds like a pretty comprehensive system. How can veterinarians and technicians try it out before buying it?
There are courses that are offered by Securos, and you can go to securosuniversity.com and view those. They're located all over the country. It's a one-day course, and we use the TriDenta system exclusively in those particular laboratories.
And besides going to one of these courses, are there other places that people can learn more about these tools?
Oh, absolutely. If you search TriDenta, TriDenta, on YouTube, there are numerous videos that Dr. Paul Mitchell has put together that are very informative, and there's a good description of all the instruments that are in these modules. Additionally, listeners who are attending the Western Veterinary Conference can visit the booth and actually view and handle the instruments and get a good idea of what the system is all about.
Well, this definitely seems like a useful system to be aware of. So I want to thank you very much for coming on and telling us about it.
Oh, you're welcome. I really appreciate the opportunity to do this.
For more information about this episode, visit digital.wvc.org.